Anyway, we were 3 minutes into this video. Good job, guys. Let's go.
Of this property is not responsible for any theft or vandalism. Owner of this property is not responsible for
lawlessness, crime, homelessness, police giving up.
And the whole video essentially boils down to, if you come to Oakland, your car will get broken into. So just keep that in mind. Now, in the beginning of the video, we see Tyler at a gas station, and we can hear overhead this audio playing.
Owner of this property is not responsible for any theft or vandalism.
Now, if you're at a gas station and they're playing that overhead, it's gotta be pretty bad with the car break-ins. So we see Tyler vlogging around, and then we see the next shot of this Kia. And if we look on the...
Damn, where are speakers playing this? I feel like I've never heard this in my life before. Is it like this in Oakland? It's a rough place, guys. Careful.
Dash, you can see a PS5 with the PS5 controller. Why would someone leave a PS5?
Can you tell me you love me, or do I have to super chat? I love you. Ofek Baron Holes.
On their dash at the gas station where they're overhead playing, your car's gonna get broken into. But let's continue on. Now, in the next shot, we see the same Kia. And if we look on the dash, we can see that same PS5 and the controller. Now, why would Tyler be filming this from far away? Maybe Tyler was trying to bait someone into breaking into this car. That seems like a crazy theory. How could we know that that's Tyler's car? Well, later on in this video, Tyler gets a parking ticket.
While the police may not do anything if you break into someone's car, commit grand theft auto, steal an ATM, or beat and rob an old lady on the street, if you park on the side of the street and don't pay the meter, you will be fined and punished.
We got a $61 parking ticket.
And he complains that, wow, people could break in the cars and do drugs, but I get a parking ticket. Well, if you look at that parking ticket a little closer, oh, we can see it's the same license plate that is on the car at the gas station. So Tyler went to the store, bought a PS5, put it on the dash, left his car out, and hid out in a little bush trying to capture someone breaking into his car. Tyler is baiting someone into breaking into his car to try to capture it on footage. Because what would make the ultimate footage for Tyler? Oh my god, I went to Oakland, California, and the break-ins are so bad that my car got broken into. And clearly, no one broke into it, because who would be dumb enough? Clearly looks like some kind of cop sting operation shit. This is like levels.
Yeah, I was gonna say, wouldn't you want to park like in a parking lot in a outside like a Target, like in an unlit area, or like on the side of a street? Are people, I guess maybe they could, like breaking into windows in like brightly lit gas station things where the guys were, I guess maybe that seems like a spooky place to steal shit from people on, but I don't know.
Of like,
I guess maybe you could go up and try the door, because if you can just reach in and take it and run.
Prank video times 10. But when you're trying to pass this off as actual news footage, on the ground journalism, I would say that's not something a truthful journalist would do. And after catching this right here, it really made me think, could I seriously trust anything in Tyler's videos? Is this something that a investigative journalist would do, leave a PS5 in one of the highest car breaking areas in the fucking country? I don't think so. Like, what the fuck? Like, and Tyler still used this footage. That's what blows my mind. And didn't think anyone would find this. Like, look at that. It is a PS5 combo package deal with the controller on the dash. How fucking dumb are you? Like, Tyler went to Best Buy and was considering, like, could I just get the PS5?
Do PS5s really not come with controllers? Did he have to throw an extra controller on the dashboard? Like, play with your friends if you steal this shit? Get an accomplice so you can both have fun?
No, I should get the PS5 and the controller. Someone would definitely break into a car for the controller as well. So, throughout the rest of this video, just think about this. This is how far Tyler's willing to go to make a good story.
We've YouTubeified traditional news and documentarian content, basically.
Oh wait, but nobody did anybody at least break into his car? At least he got the story, right? He didn't include all this and like not even have a break-in, right?
You bought the controller. Why would you buy the controller as well? So let's go to Tyler's video, Oakland, where every crime is legal. Now, Tyler's video start out with him flying to the place, checking it out, talking to both sides, and he'll intersperse news clips or relevant news footage of these events happening in that city.
With 1 of every 30 residents having their car stolen last year, 38% increase in robberies, 23% increase in burglaries, and 44% increase in motor vehicle theft.
Because frankly, when Tyler goes to these places, it's not as bad as he always wants it to be. So by Tyler showing all these news clips, it could seem way worse than what it really is. Now, Tyler is passing this along as actual information, that this is actually how the city is. Now, these news clips are always from the city that Tyler's in. Or are they? In this Oakland video, Tyler brings along this prestigious reporter, Darren Stalcup.
I met up with Bay Area native and investigative journalist Darren Stalcup to hit the streets and see what's really going on in Oakland.
Tyler shows clips of him going on Fox News, that he's been all around town investigating the homeless crisis within Oakland, California. Now, this guy isn't a journalist. He's actually a used car salesman who pulled a $7,000 GoFundMe scam a couple months earlier. This guy isn't a journalist. He's actually a used car salesman.
Well, listen, anybody can be a journalist.
Who pulled a $7,000 GoFundMe.
Help Darren move from the Tenderloin. It's with a heavy heart that I'm saying goodbye to my apartment in the Tenderloin. I can no longer live in a neighborhood where I'm constantly tripping over bodies, fecal and needles. Our community has become uninhabitable. This is a humanitarian crisis. My apartment has been broken into multiple times. All of the stores have been ransacked. Living in the Tenderloin has been a traumatizing experience, and it is time to move. However, things are tough, and moving is difficult. He needs $10,000 to fucking move? Okay, Jesus.
Economy scam a couple months earlier.
I talk a lot about right-wing grifters in my videos, but this week Fox
Also, I would say, was that really a scam? I mean, it sounds like the guy's just begging for money to move. It's like pretty honest. It seems like, I don't know if I would call it a scam, unless he didn't even move, but...
hosted one that was so lazy. I'm honestly kind of impressed. This guy, Darren Mark Stallcup, is trying to raise $10,000 to move from the Tenderloin neighborhood of San Francisco to another neighborhood in San Francisco.
I'm currently looking at the Chinatown neighborhood, but I'm open to other districts as well.
And it's actually working. I looked into this guy a little more, and he has another GoFundMe, also for $10,000, but this one is trying to achieve world peace. So either world peace is like a lot cheaper than I thought, or, and far more likely, he just wants $10,000.
But let's continue on. So the used car salesman's riding around with Tyler, and all of a sudden he brings up how he's seen kids as young as 7 years old walking around with guns in Oakland. Now that sounds pretty wild. Tyler then shows this news clip on screen.
I don't know why we're being followed when there's no doubt criminal activity left, right, and center.
A lot of the kids have guns now, so when I'm walking around, I'm not looking for some 25-year-old guy with a gun. I'm
15-year-olds out here?
I'm looking for 7-year-olds with guns.
So when the reporter brings up kids with guns in Oakland, Tyler intersplices a news clip of a teen in trouble that we're led to believe is from Oakland. Because frankly, Tyler doesn't see the kids with guns, so he's got to show news clips to prove that this is actually happening. But what if I was to tell you that this news clip he shows as evidence isn't from Oakland, but from Miami, Florida, 2 years ago? But Tyler...
This is always, okay, when people lie about this is always what makes me wonder if, like, are we totally fabricating a problem? Like, there must be problems. Why not just talk about the problems that actually exist? Why do you have to make shit up? It's like when people talk about, like, all the illegals that are killing innocent Americans, and then they bring up Laken Riley or whatever over and over again. Like, hold on. Why? There must be somebody new who's dead by now that we could talk about. If there are all these illegals killing all these Americans, shouldn't we have, like, another mascot? Like, do we really have to go back and yank the Laken Riley chain over and over and over again? There must be somebody else. Certainly somebody, just like statistically speaking.
Tyler passes it off as this is what's happening in Oakland. Even though we can't see the kids with guns, we'll just take his word for it. Teen in trouble. Sounds really bad. But let's continue on. Maybe this is just a little mistake. So Tyler and Darren are talking to a business owner, and they bring up all of the machine guns that are in Oakland, and that's why crime is up. It is so horrible up there. Oakland is so bad that people have machine guns and they're walking around. Mind you, it's California. Like, the gun laws are insane here. And then Tyler shows this clip, a scary black man with machine gun manhunt in the corner.
I believe it's necessary for law-abiding citizens to have the means and capability to defend themselves. As you know, all the criminals out here have guns.
Oh my God, fuck, wait. This is like barely related. Does anybody have, I feel like I watched a video on Twitter yesterday, or was this on my subreddit, where there's a guy in Australia and he's asking like 2 women over and over again, like, why are you guys afraid to walk on the streets? And they're like, because we don't want to get mugged. And they're like, by who? And they're like, men. And like, what kind of men? Scary men. What do they look like? They're tall. and he asked it over and over again until finally he was like, the women left, and then he talks to the other guy. It's like, it's because of black people, right? And he's like, yeah, Africans. It's like, okay. It was Rome, no? Was it? I don't remember where it was. I feel like I saw this. That's the Tyler Oliveira Poland video. Oh, is it? Oh, link it if you have it.
So I have no problem with you. And
Machine guns?
And we're led to believe this is actually happening in Oakland. But this clip isn't from Oakland. It's from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Once again, Tyler is literally making shit up to push a narrative. And this is in nearly every video Tyler releases. Let's go to Tyler's video where he goes to Memphis, the most violent city in America. In the beginning, Tyler shows this clip of 2 scary black men robbing
Oh, wait. No, never mind.
a car in a gas station, and we're led to believe this is from Memphis.
This is Memphis, the most violent city in America.
But it's not. It's from Chicago PD. And Tyler even goes out of his way to cut out the Chicago PD in the upper right-hand corner.
Jesus. Shameless.
So Tyler...
Wait, it was this. Okay.
Where are you from?
Rome, Italy, yeah.
Do you feel safer as a woman?
Yes, yeah.
Do you feel safe in Rome as a woman? Or Italy, sorry?
No, not at all.
Why?
It's not safe.
Why is it not safe?
Because we don't feel safe, like walking alone at night.
Who are you afraid of at night?
Like men.
Which men? Men in general, or specific types of men who come from different places?
Like men.
Italian men?
Yeah.
Okay, they don't need it. They can buy their own. Why do you think they feel unsafe in Rome? Let's be honest.
Because of Africans. They are afraid to say so.
Where are you from?
Okay.
Deliberately knew what he was doing. Now, normally I wouldn't really care about this type of thing, but Tyler is using all of these violent images and video to pass off a narrative that these places that he visits are so horrible. And it's really being used to just make up shit about the city, because frankly, it's not as bad as he wants it to be. And when you're at the point of having to use random news footage to sell off this narrative...
That guy is the Polish president, by the way. Okay.
I would say that's not really the unbiased truth or investigative journalism. But it doesn't end there with Tyler. In his video, I investigated the gun violence capital of America, aka Chicago, Tyler shows this clip when the man's talking about petty theft in Chicago.
But all the crime down here is just
like petty theft, breaking into cars, go to certain neighborhoods.
Now, petty theft is nonviolent.
Like, another reason why this is annoying, I've said this a million times, is because I think that we can, we can all agree. We can't all agree because we don't all live in these environments. But it seems to be the case that in San Francisco and in California in general, there was an issue with people downplaying at the very least shoplifting, if not other forms of petty crime. This was a huge issue, and it seems like it was denied for a long time. Everybody tried to deny it. When you listen to Sam Cedar or Hassan Piker talk about it, they'll say like, oh no, the shoplifting is all fabricated by evil capitalists, and they'll point to shoplifting numbers. But then the store owners say like, well, we just don't report it. There was the, fuck, I need to save this story. The shoplifting rates had either stayed the same or had fallen in San Francisco. And then I think like a single target, and the store owner said that we just stopped calling the police because they don't do anything. And the guys have already left and we can't hold them or whatever. And then I think in one Target, they installed like a security button in one Target in the city. And I think that the reported shoplifting for the entire city doubled in that 1 month because of this one store that was reporting every event. I thought it was Target. Was it Walgreens? Oh, it might have been this. This is in, or was updated November 27th, 2021. I think that's around when it was published. Nice! You can probably bring up a million clips of Sam Cedar and Hassan making these exact same arguments. Hassan did it, I think, again during Janksgiving or whatever, or to Jank, where he's like, no, that was just capitalists lying about it. As San Francisco remains locked in a fierce debate over how best to respond to crime, shoplifting has become one flashpoint of the battle, dividing people across sharp political lines. But crime experts say the data required to accurately measure shoplifting is woefully inadequate. There is no better example of the problem than the shoplifting data kept by the San Francisco Police Department. Starting in January of 2018, reported shoplifting incidents are relatively consistent at about 250 per month. They dip sharply when the pandemic begins and then begin to sharply increase as the city reopens. And then in September of 2021, they inexplicably double. A closer look at the data shows that the spike in reported shoplifting came almost entirely from one store, the Target at 789 Mission Street in the Metrion Mall. In September alone, 154 shoplifting reports were filed from the south of Market intersection where the Target stands, up from 13 in August. And then in October, the reports from this intersection went down again to 17. What happened to this particular Target? Did the store see a huge spike in shoplifting in September? No, said store manager Stacy Abbott. The store was simply using a new reporting system implemented by the police that allows retailers to report crime incidents over the phone. When asked why the shoplifting reports had decreased again in October, Abbott said that she wouldn't be able to answer any more questions and directed the Chronicle to the police department as well as Target's media team, which did not answer questions either. Officer Robert Riuka, a police spokesperson, Reka, I don't know. So the new reporting system is accessible to other businesses and individuals on weekdays, not just the Target. He did not respond to questions about how long the system had been in place or whether the department had seen an increase in shoplifting incidents from other stores since the system's implementation. Though the spike seen in the data generates more questions than answers, one thing is clear. A single, albeit large and busy, store's decision to report a majority of its shoplifting incidents doubled the entire city's monthly shoplifting rates. But yeah, this is not good, not okay. Not good. But then, like, it's annoying because you can't, because now we're not talking about this. Now we're talking about, like, 7-year-old shooters. It's just so cringe. Whatever.
Crime down here is just like petty theft, breaking into cars, go to certain neighborhoods.
Now, petty theft is nonviolent theft that is under $500. It isn't some burglary or mugging or whatever. But while this guy's talking about petty theft, Tyler then shows this clip to almost disprove the guy. Like, wow, he's talking about petty theft, but clearly there's 4 black men robbing a car in the middle of Chicago. That sounds pretty wild. But once again, this clip isn't from Chicago. It's from Houston, Texas, 40 years ago. I can do this all day long. Tyler makes up shit to fit his narrative. And when that narrative is being used as the unbiased truth or journalism, I would say that's pretty bad, in my opinion. But let's just continue on. Or let's go to Tyler's video. I investigated the murder capital of America, New Orleans. Now, Tyler's talking about living a life of crime, and he shows this clip on screen.
A lot of people die due to gun violence. With murders happening every day, countless kids are left without strong parental figures, get raised by the streets, live a life of crime, have a few...
Wow, a black man just shooting someone in the middle of the day? Oh my God. New Orleans is absolutely horrible. But that clip literally says it's from New York. That is how lazy Tyler is with his content. He is just taking random...
This isn't lazy either. People need to use better words. This is not lazy. This is just lying. You can't have B-roll footage of things that aren't even in the city that appear to align with like what you're talking about, right? Imagine if I'm saying that like fathers in Alabama treat their daughters horribly, and I show like a clip of like a mass rapes report or something, but it ends up that that clip is just like from a town in Nigeria or like media in like Indonesia or something. And it's like, well, it was just B-roll, bro. It's not related to what's being said on screen. Like that's just wild. Thoughts on Aldi acquiring Winn-Dixie? Infinitely inferior to Publix, in my opinion, but still sad to see Euro slurs agglomerating American business. I don't know anything about Aldi or Winn-Dixie. Fuck both those places. They sound cringe.
Random violent imagery, putting it in his videos and trying to sell it off as this is the truth.
Our goal is simply to educate, inform, and entertain, and hopefully do all 3 at once. We're boots on the ground, as they say. Balls deep, trenches thick.
Is this really what a journalist would do? Let's go to Tyler's Sweden video. Sweden, inside the country that pays immigrants $34,000 to leave. Now in this video, Tyler's interviewing a Muslim activist, and Tyler asked the question, is Islam's values maybe not compatible with Sweden?
Of Islam conflict with Swedish society and Swedish law.
And while the lady goes into Islam and all these other countries, but when Tyler goes to the part of her talking about Islam in Sweden, Tyler shows this video on screen.
The way someone see Islam in
Oh shit, I remember this.
About Islam in Sweden, Tyler shows this video on screen.
The way
You have to go, I don't remember what the cities to the south are though, but you have to go really far south to see this shit in Sweden. It's pretty crazy. Fuck, what's the name of the... Fuck, I should remember this. Sweden is burning because of this one fucking city that they always cite. Malmo. This is in Malmo, I think, right here.
someone see Islam in Afghanistan or in Somalia or in Iran or in Sweden is obviously different.
And we're led to believe, wow, while this lady is talking about
Iran or way someone see Islam in Afghanistan or in Somalia or in Iran or in Sweden is obviously different.
And we're led to believe, wow, while this lady is talking about Islam being peaceful, they are protesting, oh my god, and there's an ISIS flag. Clearly that isn't just a peaceful protest that they have ISIS flags in Sweden. But once again, this clip isn't from Sweden. It's from motherfucking Malaysia. And I can do this all goddamn day long, Tyler. It's nearly in all of your videos you are passing this off as the truth. Because frankly, when Tyler goes to these places, it's not as bad as he wants it to be.
Just trying to get like some news on social media. So you have some idea, or do you want to get detained for obstruction?
I think you can detain me. Put my arrest. And if so, for what charges?
Harassment.
You're gonna arrest me right now?
Said you're being detained, sir.
Whoa. That's, you can't do that. You can't do that.
Are you gonna identify yourself or not?
Okay, I'm on public property.
Are you gonna
you can't strong arm me.
yes or no?
We're going to court over this if you want.
And once again, I would just, let me be clear. Is this what a really thorough investigative journalist would do? Be so lazy with the content that they make that they're just throwing in random news clips of, as we've seen right now, only black guys committing crimes, all to amplify the video and make it seem as horrible as possible. Is that what a journalist would do? I don't think so. Now, I know Tyler is intentionally doing this because I backchecked a lot of his videos, and a lot of the news clips are from the city that Tyler's in. And these are just a few of the examples that I found. But trust me, it takes a hell of a lot of time trying to backsource like where these news clips are from, especially when Tyler doesn't show the title or link any sources in his videos. So this is just a few that I found. I can't even imagine how many more there are. Now, beyond using random news clips as actual evidence of all these cities falling apart, what about the other lies Tyler has in his videos? Now, let's go to his one video. Tyler investigates the murder capital of the world, Jamaica. Now, Tyler makes it a point that it is so dangerous here. It's the murder capital of the world.
This is Jamaica, the murder.
Oh god, I already know which clip this is going to be. It's going to be of the guy in the store stealing the laundry detergent or whatever, and his son is like making fun of the cop or making fun of the security guard for trying to stop him. Is that what we're looking at?
Thoughts on stealing of the shampoo from Walgreens? Yeah, I saw this. This is so fucking stupid, dude. Like, just let people steal shit, dude. What the fuck is wrong with you? They're not hurting anybody. Like, that's unironically my take. Like, what is this? This is like actually dry snitching, dude. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you, dude? Like, are they stealing from you? No, they're stealing from Walgreens. Like, what are you, Mr. Wall or Mr. Green? Like, why are you fucking doing that?
I hate God, I hate him so much. God, he's so fucking stupid.
Capital of the world.
That's a big old knife. Have you?
So he has to hire a local guy to protect him and show him around. Now, walking around the town, Tyler says this.
The farm? The farm? Right over there. Yeah, okay, where they from?
While my guide was nowhere in sight, I first thought I was setting myself up to get robbed. But it turns out this guy was giving me a full tour of the community with unexpected hospitality.
All right, we're visiting the garden right now. A little baby young mango. Is this where you make the juice?
So I'm thinking, oh my God, Tyler's gonna get murdered. Hey, Tyler's in the murder capital of the world without his guide. Oh my God, he's gonna die. He's gonna get robbed. Seems pretty bad. But let's watch this interaction from a different.
Oh, yeah. Fuck, wait. I'm sorry. One more son. Hate watch. Yes. Where the people were stealing, because they wanted to redistribute the goods back to their community. Oh my God, not this one. Fuck. Somebody has it. Somebody please find this for me. Fuck me, dude.
Angle.
Is this where you make the juice?
Yes.
Thank you. Oh, so this is what we just tried.
Oh, okay. That's Tyler's cameraman. That's clearly the same thing going on. Where's this camera angle from? Oh, okay. That's Tyler's cameraman. That's clearly the same thing going on. Where's this camera angle from? Oh, it's almost like his guide was right there and took this footage, but Tyler had to sell it off, is that his guide was nowhere to be seen, and that Tyler...
Oh, no.
Tyler's
Is this where you make the juice?
Yes.
Thank you. Oh, so this is what we just tried.
Oh, okay. That's Tyler.
Because this guy did another video. Damn.
There's cameraman. That's clearly the same thing going on. Where's this camera angle from? Oh, it's almost like his guide was right there and took this footage, but Tyler had to sell it off, is that his guide was nowhere to be seen, and that Tyler was going to get murdered.
While my guide was nowhere in sight, I first thought I was setting myself up to get robbed.
Tyler's guide posted a 2-hour-long vlog of their entire day, and the guide was there the entire time. Tyler wasn't walking on his own about to get murdered. That was all just made up.
While my guide was nowhere in sight, I first thought I was setting myself up to get robbed.
And this is just something where it's so small. But why do you have to lie about this? I walked around on my own in the murder capital of the world. Like, really, Tyler's dissing the guy that he's doing a horrible job and just left and disappeared. But he's right there. He's right there filming this footage from a different angle. You were literally just making shit up to just sell a narrative. That this place is absolutely the most despicable thing you've ever seen. Now, if he's willing to lie about something so small like this, to just really just amplify the violence and the crime here, when he clearly doesn't see it around him, what else would Tyler lie about? Now, later on in this video, Tyler's walking around Jamaica in a clearly peaceful-looking town, and he's... What else would Tyler lie about?
What is this? Am I getting mind-fucked by the proportions, or is this AR-15 like really big? Am I crazy? Is the guy smaller, or is it just photoshopped in? Or am I just mind-fucked because it's a thumbnail? I don't know. Okay.
On this video, Tyler's walking around Jamaica in a clearly peaceful-looking town, and he's asking all these people, how bad is the crime here? Am I gonna die if I walk around here? And clearly, no one's buying into it.
Think we'll die today?
No, that's it.
Not today?
Not today.
And that's not what he wants to hear. He has to amplify the violence and crime of where he's at. So while Tyler's looking around, he sees this truck, and he says this.
This is what you're talking about. Keep on. There's bullet holes on that thing. When you saw a beryllium truck, that's the equivalent of one of the trucks in the U.S. that carries the cash, which means that someone's probably planning to steal from it right now.
Bro. Oh, here's the song clip.
Okay. There's good stuff happening on the protest side always. Like, you only see the looting of Target. You don't see the redistribution of the goods that they took from Target back to the community. Like, because a lot of these neighborhoods are now turning into fucking food deserts where you have to drive 30 minutes to an hour to go get food.
Like, tell me you've never been to a single poor place in your entire life. Like, where do these people live that they have to drive 30 minutes in a city to go and find food? Like, one place in the entire United States where they have to drive 30 to 60 minutes to go and get food. And people are looting Targets to go and redistribute. What are they, eating the shoes? What are we even saying here?
If you live in those...
Are they redistributing scooters and bicycles so they can go and wheel themselves to a fucking Wendy's? Like,
where you have to drive 30 minutes to an hour to go get food. If you live in those neighborhoods, it's do shit, okay?
Dud. Nothing happened. Exy Frogs molding you.
Okay. There's good stuff happening on the protest side always. Like, you only see the looting of Target. You don't see the redistribution of the goods that they took from Target back to the community.
Yeah, looting is never okay, though.
So there's bullet holes on the truck, and that means someone's planning to steal it right now.
There's bullet holes on that thing, which means that someone's probably planning to steal from it right now.
That's how bad it is. People are robbing the cars. They're robbing the bank cars. That's how bad it is here. But let's look at that car a little bit closer. Oh, wow, it looks like it was just kind of scratched. Now, I had to look in this a little bit more. The company that owns this is called Beryllium. And Beryllium just bought out a company called Guardsman. Guardsman, they're all based in Jamaica, has red trucks. So would it really be that the car shot up with bullet holes and they're continuing to use it? Or that the car was red, they wrapped it black, and the car scraped against something and now it's there? Why do you have to lie about that? Why do you have to make up this insane narrative? Oh my God, there was a robbery in place and I was about this. That didn't happen, Tyler. This is all he does in his videos. He goes around and he preponders at the crime and all of the—
Yeah, true. Why would you shoot at an armored truck? That's a good point. I mean, I'm sure people have, but like, what are you, stupid? Bullets are expensive. It's Jamaica.
These horrible cities that he visits. Is that really journalism? Is that really this unbiased truth that you tell? Like these people in this video, the tour guide that you're with, he's just trying to live his life. He's trying to do better. But you come into his country and just absolutely shit on it for like 40 minutes. It's disgusting. I don't know how you could do that. In this guide, if you go on his YouTube channel, all of the comments from underneath his video where he hung out—
Oh, shoot. That's true. This just reminds me of the temple. How many right-wing grifters do this? Fuck. His original Swedish footage, when he gets to his car and the car doesn't turn on immediately, and he's like, "Oh no, did the government sabotage our vehicle?" Bro, what do you do? What are you talking about? He tries to lie and say that like the cops are following him here or whatever. God, this whole thing was so cringe. Okay, we won't do it.
Out with you, Tyler, for 2 hours are like, I don't trust this guy. This guy's a snake. This guy made our place look so bad. And the guide is like trying to defend. He's like, no, Tyler's actually a good guy. He helped me get views and subscribers and stuff. And it's like, that's so disgusting that you're making this guy subtly, you know, you're not asking him to defend you, but essentially he's wanting to defend you because you did give him a little bit of clout when you come into his country and just shit on it for 40 minutes. Like, what the fuck, dude? But it doesn't end there. Later on in this video, Tyler is walking around the street of all of the escorts, ladies of the night walking around. And then Tyler sees this restaurant. And Tyler says this.
A lot of prostitutes out here. This is one of the hotels where the ladies get brought to have sex with the customers, the Johns. It's called the Pirate Ship Seafood Restaurant. I guess that's just a front, or seafood restaurant by day, prostitute brothel hotel.
Are their lives really this boring that they're doing danger tourism to feel that they're in a movie? Holy shit. No, all of this is in the service of placating the views that you already have. It's part of that media apparatus, right? So I have a feeling about a thing and I need like more stuff in my environment to reinforce that feeling. Since I don't ever go there, I don't interact with it directly. So that's the, yeah. So like the, if you can think of any policy thing, I guess if you're a new content creator, you're trying to find new content, think of any policy thing or description of reality that conservatives believe in, and then think that that might be wrong, but then think of how you can make content about it, and that would be like a free 500,000 view video. Like imagine, so what's the thing that we believe that conservatives think that's hard to prove, right? Probably, we can say like global warming, climate change, right? So think of like a fucking, okay, well, we think that climate change is fake. They're saying climate change is real. Maybe this is a thing that's hard to immediately prove or disprove. So then the idea would be, let's go to like the hottest place on the planet and see how many people we can film wearing like long sleeve shirts to show that like climate change is fake. And then that would be the whole video. Like, look, they said that the climate was changing, getting warmer, but these people are having no issues. And then you get a couple people just like, oh no, the weather's nice out. It's been a nice season. And then that's your video. And they're like, boom. And then now you're like feeding into the media environment where people are like, well, climate change isn't really happening. I was like, well, what about like all this data? And they're like, no. Like, and now you can pull this out of your memory of things. Like this guy literally went to, Hotistan, where it's supposed to be the hottest city on earth. And those people like are literally wearing jeans and long sleeve shirts. And they said that the weather's fine there. So no, I don't believe that's true. It's basically.
Tell at night, a little bit inconspicuous at first glance, but in actuality, people are getting banged in there for $15 US.
So Tyler just walking around, sees this restaurant and sees that the lights are on. And so
do you think this is an example of the trolling concept where people just play a role to gain popularity? Or is it part of a bigger scheme? I don't know if I would say it's a part of a bigger scheme. Like the beauty of problem solving for some things is that with a lot of small pieces that have very simple programming on their own, they can contribute to a seemingly much more complex macro environment. So like an ant doesn't know, I think, what a bridge is. I don't even know if an ant can conceptualize a bridge. However, due to like some very, very, very basic programmed behavior, they're capable of constructing bridges out of their bodies to ferry things from one location to the next, right? This like emergent complex behavior is emerging from a whole bunch of like simplistic things that are working underneath. So for these types of media environments, the idea is basically, okay, I know that people think this thing about this place. That's the conclusion. I need to go and film whatever I can so that I can edit a documentary to feed into that because that's where the viewership is. That's basically what it is, right? If you were to go and film the same thing, like Jamaica, murder capital of the world, or not, and then the whole thing is like, well, here we are, we're actually just hanging out. It's actually pretty boring here. There's nothing going on. No, why would anybody watch that? You're challenging people's preconceived notions. It would only feed into like a fan base that would probably already think that. So people on the left, now your right-wing people are upset and they're going to accuse you of doctoring footage or not showing the truth. People on the left hate you anyway, so why even feed into it? So you're always, when you're this type of human being, you're always shopping for your, you're just trying to build footage around a preconceived idea already, basically. You're going in with the end already in mind, if that makes sense.
Assumes that, oh my God, that's where all the people are getting fucked in there, man. It's just fucking grimy. It's a brothel. It's the dirtiest place you've ever seen. Yeah, that's where it's happening at. Tyler, this is a Christian catering restaurant that does weddings. Why the fuck would you just make up a lie about this? For what? Like, what is the story that you're trying to tell? Oh, how shitty it is? I don't think you have to disparage a Christian catering restaurant for weddings.
Wait,
Christian
what?
catering grimy. It's a restaurant and sees that the light
there for $15 US. And inconspicuous at first glance, but in actuality, people are getting banged in there for $15 US. And
so Tyler just walking around, sees this restaurant and sees that the lights are on and assumes that, oh my God, that's where all the people are getting fucked in there, man. It's just fucking grimy.
Do you think that it comes off as more malicious than it is, though? Like, imagine being Jamaican and seeing this. Yeah, but everybody views themselves as just like a small cog in the machine. Nobody actually views themselves as having responsibility for the situation in and of itself. They all see themselves as part of a smaller cog that's just like doing a thing, and it's not them who are like responsible necessarily for the thing itself. There was this, the Federalist 15, the Hamilton obsesses a lot over this idea about when people are in groups of people, they act stupid, basically. And how do you counteract that while still having groups of people, right? You have to have a federal government, you have to have state governments, and you need people to act in union with each other. But also factions is what he refers to them as, like political parties, I guess, is what they would become, or things like this. People can start doing really dumb things. But like this diffusion of responsibility is a really important, I think, explainer for how people act in these environments without feeling any sort of moral culpability for what they're doing, right? Like he's just reinforcing an opinion that almost everybody knows is true and everybody believes it's true, and you know other people are doing it. So
brothel, it's the dirtiest place you've ever seen. Yeah, that's where it's happening at. Tyler, this is a Christian catering restaurant that does weddings. Why the fuck would you just make up a lie about this? For what? Like, what is the story that you're trying to tell? Oh, how shitty it is? I don't think you have to disparage a Christian catering restaurant for weddings and say it's a brothel. And the dumbest part about this is, like, you know, Tyler makes like two things. He's like, one, it's a brothel. Two, it's an actual restaurant. And then it's a brothel at night. Like, you can't just say like, oh, maybe it's true, maybe it's not. Which
mob mentality, but then conversely, there's the wisdom of the crowd. So which one applies? These two things are answering different questions. The wisdom of the crowd has to do with, I think, like groups of people honing in on some analysis of a problem that accurately accounts for how most people on average think about it, maybe, or what might be a thought about it, which is almost tautological. Groups of people will tell you essentially on the aggregate what groups of people think about a thing. Mob mentality has nothing to do with an individual taking action in a group of people or explaining individual psychology. I think these are addressing different things.
We're going to go into that later. That's a whole other can of worms. Either way, in that situation, it's a brothel. But you don't know that, Tyler. The thing is like, this is in a country where they're trying to rebuild, and you're just shitting on the people there for no reason. I'm surprised the guy didn't stop you and say, what the fuck are you talking about? You're literally just making this shit up. Why would you do this, Tyler? Oh, because you're trying to get clicks and views by making whatever area you're in the shittiest place ever.
You're informing people about current events, topics that the broader public needs to be aware of, and I don't even think we necessarily stand for something besides the search for truth and putting things out there on both sides, even if one of the sides is controversial or pisses someone off.
So let's go later on in this video. Now, Tyler's talking to some transsexual prostitutes and asking them all about the business, and you can see his guide right there. And then all of a sudden, two black guys come up to rob him.
Out of nowhere, two armed muggers came over to rob me and my cameraman and barely spared us, only after recognizing Jamaica walk by as he yelled, "Bumbleclat," in the distance. They told us to turn the cameras off, and instead of robbing us, they agreed to be interviewed if we brought them some cash.
Seems pretty scary. So these thugs let Tyler go withdraw cash from the ATM. They literally let them get in a car and go withdraw cash, and then come back to the spot.
We're basically being extorted right now in real time, where we have to go get some cash, or we run the risk of Fabian getting murdered and killed on the streets one day for counting them. Let's go get robbed.
So two guys that robbed you at knife point let you get in your car to go drive to the ATM while they stayed there, and then you come back with about $150 and then convince them to do an interview on camera when you're holding a $3,000 camera that you're filming all this with. Who's gonna believe this, bro? Who would believe this? That really you convinced the robbers to give you an interview? Yeah, Tyler, I'm convinced that some guy with a beer gut and a dulled off kitchen knife is, oh my God, they're gonna kill you. Tyler, if you really thought they were gonna kill you, wouldn't you just drive away? Why would you go to the ATM and then come back to try to get an interview? Like, what the fuck are you thinking, dude? Tyler even makes it a point to say, we didn't set this up, we didn't plan this.
So we have to get some cash right now because we spent all of our money interviewing prostitutes, not because we prearranged this, but because they were going to mug us.
Why would you say that? If you really were getting robbed at knife point, I don't know if you would go like this.
Whoa, that's a big old knife.
I'm getting robbed in 4K, bro. Oh, look at your gun, look at your knife, how big it is, bro. There's no way that actually happened. Now for this one, I don't have any hard evidence of this being fake, but considering that Tyler is willing to fabricate footage and just make up shit in his videos, I wouldn't put it past him to maybe fabricate this entire situation. But what about what Tyler doesn't tell you in his videos? That could be a little bit important too. Now Tyler put out this video, I investigated if George Bush did 9/11. Fucking insane talk.
Wait, what? What did he do? What did that investigation look like?
But let's get into it. Now Tyler says he meets up with a first responder on 9/11.
What if I talk to a first responder on 9/11 who was the New York Fire Commissioner? Let me introduce Chris Joya.
And we're led to believe, wow, this guy fought the fires on 9/11, but now he believes it was actually bombed, that it wasn't the planes. That guy sounds like he has a lot of credibility.
So it's impossible for a building to collapse near free fall speed.
He's like the Dar Man of like documentaries.
And increase
without a controlled demolition.
But Tyler leaves out a couple little details. This guy isn't a firefighter. He's a construction worker who volunteered on 9/11. He's a volunteer firefighter. Tyler says he was there on 9/11.
But what if I talk
volunteer?
I can't speak at all to how New York works. However, I think that there are places where that is how the fire departments work, right? Like it's a volunteer fire department. Everybody works other jobs, but people volunteer for it. So I don't know if this is necessarily contradictory. Like it says Franklin Square Fire Department is a volunteer fire department. Some cities, I think they just have like volunteer fire departments. That's what it is. So I don't think this is necessarily contradictory. He might not know that, but that's fine.
On 9/11. He's a volunteer firefighter.
Kyle McKenzie says New York City is not volunteer. That would make sense, though. For super large cities, maybe not. Yeah, but
Tyler says he was there on 9/11.
But what if I talk to a first responder on 9/11?
The guy literally says he wasn't there until 4 days after.
You were on site that day.
I was working across the river doing my construction job, and then the fire department got called to duty to assist. Within a couple of days, we wound up down at ground zero.
But
sorry.
This is just small potatoes. Now, during this video, the man talks about the bombing, how they did it, but he doesn't reveal who did it, which would be a little bit important. Now, the man brings up these people did it.
These people that did it don't even care about them.
Who would these people be? Well, Tyler doesn't say.
No wonder so many people died on 9/11. If it took the first responders 3 days to get there, holy shit. Yo, I am an FDNY firefighter. What is that? First District of New York firefighter? No, Fire Department of New York firefighter. This guy is not a firefighter who was there on 9/11. I also don't know if you've got like these smaller fire departments. Are these guys considered first responders? I guess, or no, any firefighter would be a first responder, right? It's not like they schedule their things, right?
The video, nor does Chris Goya. We could go online to this man's organization, the Architects and Engineers for 9/11 Truth. They currently have a federal lawsuit for believing that 5 dancing Israelis blew up the World Trade Center. But Tyler just leaves this.
To be fair, they just think they were celebrating it being blown up. Not that they blew it up themselves. Or maybe they do. I don't know. The dancing Israeli thing is such a stupid fucking meme.
Information out. Because clearly, if we knew this guy believed Israel blew up the World Trade Center, we probably wouldn't take him seriously. But I mean, it's all good. It's all in the name of just a little bit of clicks and views. A fun little conspiracy video. And Tyler is so insidious in this video because he's literally leading you 99% of the conspiracy theory, but that 1% of who did it, Tyler doesn't say. So for someone that gets invested in this, you're going to go all the way through, and then if you just go online, you could find out yourself. 5 dancing Israelis, the lawsuit is still happening. But what other details does Tyler leave out? Let's go to his video. I investigated the city where you legally must own a gun.
That's me turning myself into the police in Kennesaw, Georgia, where every head of household by law must own a gun. But does everyone here actually own a gun?
Now Tyler drives down to the town and says, I want to visit the antique store that has the law in writing.
You're hearing from the people. I drove downtown to an antique store to see if I could find the law in writing.
So Tyler goes to the antique store, he sees the law in writing, he's talking with the shop owner, they go outside and smoke a cigarette, and then Tyler purchases a bag of assault rocks and a bunch of other items. So much stuff that Tyler needed a bag from this so-called antique store. But Tyler fails to mention some other items this antique store sells. Niglint repellent, a Niglint scalp, minstrel show outfits, and a rack of KKK uniforms worn by ex-members. These are actual photos from inside the store. This isn't a antique store. This is a KKK memorabilia shop that Tyler passed off as a antique shop. Now, do you think supporting a store like this might come off as maybe a little bit racist, a store that literally sells Niglint repellent? I would say a little bit so.
So does that only work on the children? Is that what that means, or?
But Tyler specifically leaves this detail out because he knows it's bad. I mean, hell, he bought so much stuff from this place that he needed a bag to take out everything he bought. I mean, it's just a grand old time at the KKK store, right? He even shows a little freedom flag playing over the shop owner.
Wait, Jesus Christ. I was thinking like assault rocks were like, do you know the things that where you, we called them poppers. Like you throw them on the ground and they pop. I thought the assault rocks were like big popper. Are they just rocks? Are they just rocks? Wait, are you allowed to sell rocks? I've never thought about this. If I go outside and I just like take shit from nature and then I just like sell it, am I allowed to do that? Or are you like stealing from like the city? Is this like property of the city or whatever? Like, can I go to like a... This must be illegal. Like, I couldn't go to Miami Beach and like scoop up a bunch of sand and start selling it online, right? There must be a law against this, right? What if I started selling like noticeable portions of Miami Beach?
So the lady running the KKK store is now all of a sudden a freedom fighter with some shitty green screen American flag? Tyler, good job. Good job, buddy. Now, am I saying this is racist? No. But you can think for yourself. But the saga of the store doesn't end there. Now, in Tyler's next video, he interviewed the most racist man in America.
This is Harrison, Arkansas, and this is the headquarters of the KKK, causing the widespread rumor that Harrison is the most racist town in America. What would happen if me, a white guy, came down asking the same questions? Could I infiltrate the KKK? And will closet racists be more open to sharing their beliefs with me?
Now, Tyler drives down to the town, and he tries to find this guy who's been in 20 other videos who has, like, KKK connections or whatever. Now, Tyler finds the man, sits down with him, and they're talking all about how much he hates black people and so on and so forth. And in the middle of the video, Tyler pulls out a little gift for the man. Now, Tyler said this man just appeared out of nowhere, that he wasn't planning on meeting him.
In all honesty, we were headed to the KKK. I had no intention to meet you.
But he just had this gift ready to go. And that gift was the bag of assault rocks that he bought from the KKK store and gifted it to the most racist man in America.
Jesus fucking Christ. Why would you even do this? Are you okay, bro?
Automatic assault rocks. That's kind of funny, right?
Oh, yes.
Do you really think supporting a KKK store and then gifting it to the most racist man in America is a great idea, Tyler? Like, what the f are you thinking? And Tyler was so proud of this moment that he took a picture with him and he posted it on Instagram and Twitter and even used 2 separate pictures when he made those posts. And Tyler left this little fact out because he knew it would come across as bad, that he went into a KKK store, bought this rocks, and then gave it to the most racist man in America. Now, am I saying this is racist? But you gotta ask, where does Tyler get some of these jokes from? Let's go to his one video, Inside the Country That Pays Immigrants $34,000 to Leave. Now, this whole video is about Muslims invading Sweden, and Tyler at the end of the video says this.
We should be asking ourselves, what is a society and culture willing to sacrifice of itself to accommodate those it welcomes? And is a kebab stand in every street corner worth sacrificing a country's entire culture?
And alongside in the thumbnail, Tyler has the word kebab right in the background. Now, when Tyler equates an entire ethnicity of people to a kebab stand, kebab,
Is this all just like Photoshopped? Is any of this picture real? Like what, this is like a tall, scary man in black who's approaching 2 precious, beautiful blonde women. This is I don't even know what the fuck this is. Some fucking mosque. And then we've got an outdoor kebab thing where the kebabs are just spinning for the customers to grab them, I guess. I've never seen a kebab stand. Maybe some look like this. I don't know. Usually it's like behind the, and then you've got like this person walking on air back here. This little girl is pregnant, I guess. And then you've got, man, what an adventure. Oh, the burning Swedish flags as well. 3 of them. Okay, nice, base. Jesus. It's like the Where's Waldo of anti-Arab racism.
That's a reference to the popular meme, Remove Kebab, which if you don't know, is about the Bosnian military when they genocided 7,500 Muslims and made a song called Remove Kebab. And this song was played as the New Zealand church crash shooter shot up 51 Muslims in 2 different mosques, and even called himself the Kebab Remover. So I don't know if equating an entire ethnicity of people to a kebab stand
is a kebab stand in every street corner worth sacrificing a country's entire culture.
Maybe comes off as a little bit racist. This is like saying, is a 7-Eleven stand in every street corner worth sacrificing an entire country's culture when I'm talking about Indian people? Tyler, that is a straight up dog whistle. Calling people, is it worth the kebab stand? Like what the f. Or what about in Tyler's other videos? In this one, Tyler investigates the Venezuelan gangs invading Colorado. Now, inside, Tyler's in this apartment building, clearly it's like falling apart, and he hears a smoke alarm chirp in the background, and Tyler says this.
It's been broken multiple times. You can hear the fire alarm that hasn't been changed. That's a meme.
Well, Tyler, where's that meme from? Oh, it's from 4chan, right here. New dog whistle just dropped. It also is a reference to memes like this. Wow, that is some racist ass shit. Now, the
okay, this middle picture is pretty funny. But not okay, guys.
meme is basically that black people don't change their smoke alarms and that they're scared of them. Would a real journalist bring up a insanely racist meme and that when Tyler heard the smoke alarm chirp, that clearly meant that black people live inside of the building? It's all a big meme, bro. Now to Tyler, this apparently is hilarious, but
okay, I feel like that one is a little bit of a stretch. I think it's okay to represent. Now, in the totality of all this other guy's work, that's pretty sus, but
let's see what else makes Tyler laugh.
These people that we're talking to have never had a random YouTuber in a blue jacket show up to them with a microphone and ask them their feelings or thoughts on anything. No one cares about these people's opinions, except when we come out of nowhere and give them an opportunity to speak and share thoughts, ideas, beliefs that they've been waiting their whole lives to share. Yeah.
Black people apparently love to shoot other black people.
You want a business out here?
Yeah, chicken and watermelon.
And where did the name come from? It's kind of funny.
Like going down the road, you fucking sand monkey. And that's what I say to him.
I got an automatic assault rocks.
Yeah. Now, beyond the funny memes and funny edits, Tyler loves to bring up the hard-hitting journalism, the real questions that people are dying for. Now, I want to bring up another YouTube journalist that does a way better job than what Tyler does. His name is Tommy G, and Tommy G is interviewing some pimps and prostitutes on the street. Now, just to get an idea, pimping is human trafficking. If you don't believe so, go read Iceberg Slim's book, and you'll find out that it is the most horrible shit out there. And while Tommy G is talking to them, he brings up this.
Where do you see yourself on the balance of good and evil?
Straight good. Ain't no evil in me, you feel me? Everything I'm doing is out the kindness of my heart. I'm trying to make sure everybody that is part of me, I play my part and we smooth.
You're pimping out of the kindness of your heart?
For surely.
Does that sound like an absurd statement to make?
Absolutely not.
Wow, so Tommy's actually pushing back on what people are saying. It's almost like Tommy G actually has a spine. Maybe he has some conviction in what he believes. But now I want to show you the hard-hitting questions that Tyler asks when he's talking to a pimp, a literal human trafficker.
Did you pull out?
Well, you know one thing about it, man. Hey, man, rubbers is not for suckers.
Do you pull out? That's it, ladies and gentlemen. That's
What's your favorite anime?
the hard-hitting journalism that's needed in the world. Do pimps pull out? Literally, you are talking to a human trafficker, and the first thing you think of is,
did you pull out?
And to Tyler, it's really just a big joke. He plays the funny pimp music in the background, and oh, look at the pimp, he's got the funny glasses, and oh, do you pull out, bro? Like, Tyler isn't taking this shit seriously. Tommy G is, actually hitting them with hard questions, pushing back on what they say. Because Tommy actually cares about the content he puts out, really looking for that journalistic truth. But in Tyler's eyes, that question is, do you pull out? Like, what the f? Now, one of the worst things, I think, is when Tyler went to the USA-Mexico border and investigated the migrant crisis. Now, Tyler goes to the border, he talks to both sides. Basically, Tyler went to the USA
These thumbnails, bro.
Mexico border and investigated the migrant crisis. Now, Tyler goes to the border, he talks to both sides. Basically, the video is about how when people claim asylum in the United States, they go into these migrant detention camps where there's no food and water, and they stay there for about a week at a time because the Border Patrol system is so backed up. And he even talks to the locals who say that,
we're just locals over here who have banded together to deal with this historic moment that's taking place in our town. The Border Patrol is detaining people in 3 separate outdoor detention sites in our area, not providing them with any food, water, shelter, or anything like that. So we've been coming in and filling in that role.
Literally, they've had to give these people food and water because the government doesn't. People have died out here in these camps, just waiting to get processed by Border Patrol.
You think people would be dying if not for the help you guys have provided?
Most certainly, yes. Yeah. Actually, 2 people have died.
But Tyler rolls upon one camp that was empty earlier and now is full. And when Border Patrol comes to process these people...
I'm gonna see if I get processed. Should probably get my ID, though.
Are you part of this group?
Sí, ahora. I'm gonna be processed.
And Tyler takes up the spot of one of the asylees and tries to get processed by Border Patrol, all as a big fucking joke. Like, what the fuck are you thinking, Tyler? Literally, you took up the spot of someone that was an actual person fleeing their lives as a fucking meme. What the actual fuck are you thinking? You know the Border Patrol system is backed up for years, and you're just adding on to that for no reason at all. And Tyler was so proud of this that he put it in all of his promo for this video, all over TikTok and Instagram. Oh, I pretended to be an asylee and then get processed. Like, this is the most elitist fucking rich kid shit I've ever seen. This is fucking disgusting. And the fact that no one has called you out on this fucking blows my mind.
Well, maybe it was a really good investigative piece, okay?
Now, the Border Patrol guards do catch on to Tyler. They clearly see he's like a YouTuber, and they kick him out of the bus. But what the fuck are you thinking? Would a journalist really pretend to be an asylee fleeing their lives, trying to get processed by Border Patrol, all as a big joke? I don't fucking think so.
I mean, you could be, but it would depend on the type of, like, piece you're making. Probably not for his, of course, but...
Now, Tyler stuff...
Hold on. This stream segment brought to you by Five Guys Burgers and Fries. Get the tastiest cheeseburger in America today.
Thumbnails have always been a big critique point for him. People have always said they're sensationalist, they have guns and violence and flames, and it's just these crazy thumbnails that aren't actually from the video that he's filming.
A YouTube thumbnail is a compressed combination of symbols that allow a viewer to know what they're going to be watching as soon as humanly possible. Sometimes they do offend people, and I get it. I genuinely do get it. It's something we're kind of working on, but the videos are often redemptive stories of these people, and the coverage is as balanced as possible on both sides. That's something we strive for.
And I just had this thought. I feel like Tyler's thumbnails are what he wants the city that he visits to be like. I mean, let's take example for a video. Now, when Tyler goes there, it seems pretty peaceful. You know, everyone's talking to him on the streets, everything seems pretty fine, but if you look at the thumbnail, you would get a completely different image. We have this guy with the Gucci bag, and he's all Gucci'd out. We have Swedish flags on the ground burning up. We have people with masks on robbing people in the middle of the street. But Tyler doesn't actually see that at all in the video. But the thumbnail is what he wishes the video would be. Let's go to his George Floyd video. Now, when Tyler goes there, he obviously sees like the George Floyd shrine, he's talking to people on the streets, but what Tyler wanted that video to be was he wanted to see a bunch of cops praying down the George Floyd, but clearly he didn't. See that. I mean, even in his video about the cat eating Haitians, Now, Tyler doesn't ever run into someone holding cats and they're running around and there's flames in the background. He never sees that at all in the video. But Tyler in the thumbnail, he presents there's smoke and there's flames and
Bro, holy shit.
there's cats running around. Black guy's just holding cats, but he never sees it. And one thing I thought about in the thumbnails is like, most journalists, I don't think, would make a random image of stuff they have never even seen or never even proven to have been seen and present that in the thumbnail as almost as if it's truth. Now, Tyler's thumbnails come a lot from that whole Mr. Beastified type game. And, you know, these type of thumbnails would be fine for like a prank video, like a Brent Riviera video. I had my sister date 100 guys, and then you have 100 ugly guys that are all lined up. But in the video, we never really see that. It's almost like a big caricature of what the video is. And for a video like that, where it's almost like a prank video, typical YouTuber, you're essentially faking the video, that isn't a big problem. But when you're trying to present videos as like actual investigative journalism, like this is what's happening, Tyler never actually sees this stuff going on. But he's always highlighting, he's always making the extreme end of it. And these thumbnails are just the idea of what Tyler wants these cities to be. And I think that really lines up with how he edits the videos, how he uses fake evidence and footage, all in the name to present this fake narrative. And yeah, I'm like crazy sick right now. I just thought that was interesting, so let's continue on. Now, to end this video off, I want to go over Tyler's worst video. Inside the Ohio town invaded by cat-eating Haitians. Now, when Tyler put this out, it got a ton of press. All over Twitter, all over YouTube, Instagram, TikTok.
I think we went over this, and there was like just some clearly wrong, stupid shit in it or something, but...
And this video got 47.6 million views across all platforms online. Now, while this video got a ton of good press from people online saying that this is proof they're eating the cats, it also got a ton of criticism online. And when Tyler responded to all this criticism, Tyler said that that video that he made, this video we're going to talk about right here, it wasn't about the Haitians eating the cats. No. It was about a demography shift.
Interesting that in Springfield, the whole they're eating the cats, they're eating the dogs is not a conversation point here, nor have I brought that up due to YouTube censorship. And also, I understand that at the end of the day, and even at the core of that video, that's not what it's about. It's about demography shift.
Well, let's see how many times Tyler asked the questions, do Haitians eat the cats?
Haitian immigrants flooded into town with rumors of them eating the neighbors' cats. Haitians are eating cats. Are these Haitians eating cats? Haitians are taking neighbors' cats and eating. The Haitians are eating the neighbors' cats. Rumors of neighbors' cats going missing, getting eaten. Haitians eating the neighbors' cats. Haitians taking cats. Are they eating cats? Haitians are kidnapping the neighbors' cats and eating them. Again, no cat eating. Cats are getting kidnapped. Is that true?
Yes, my mom actually seen a post on Facebook. I believe it. Like, I've heard rumors about
The simulacrum. Is it true? Yes, my mom saw a post on Facebook.
them taking the geese and killing them.
I wouldn't be surprised because we used to have a lot of cats around here.
Es cierto que personas comen los gatos o no? Bonjour.
You got a cat right beside him.
Stop! Well, I've seen a video of a guy getting a Canadian goose, a Haitian dude.
We've lost a whole bunch of cats. There was a van pulled over that had over 100 cats in it with the Haitians. They said they was eating them.
Actually?
Yeah.
Not fake news.
Not fake news.
So, I understand that at the end of the day, and even at the core of that video, that's not what it's about. It's about demography shift.
You couldn't take a picture of it?
So the video that isn't about eating the cats has the thumbnail, do you eat the cats? Hundreds of cats all in the background. Inside the Ohio town invaded by cat-eating Haitians. You literally ask everyone in the video, are the Haitians eating the cats? Yeah, I would say that's what the video's about, Tyler. Now, Tyler loves to try to slime his way away from any criticism he receives, but this video was about Haitians eating cats. And you might ask, well, is that a rumor based on anything true? Now, in the beginning of the video, Tyler shows his evidence of the Haitians eating the cats. And we see this body cam footage from a police officer and this lady eating a cat.
Rumors of them eating the neighbors' cats and local geese.
What did you do? Why'd you kill the cat? Did you eat that cat? Did you eat it?
Now, you would think that, oh wow, the lady's black. Seems like, okay, she must be Haitian. Oh, okay, so the Haitians are eating the cats. But this clip is of an American citizen that was literally on a psychotic breakdown that ate a cat. But Tyler is passing this off as the Haitians are eating the cats, and this is the evidence. But then Tyler shows another clip. Now, the rumor then turned into, are the Haitians also eating the gooses? So Tyler then shows this picture of a black man that we see walking with two geese.
Well, I've seen a video of a guy getting a Canadian goose, a Haitian dude.
And we're thinking, wow, okay, so because the man's black, okay, he's Haitian, and then he has two geese, okay, so it has to be Haitians eating the geese now, too. But this image was also debunked. This was an American citizen picking up roadkill on the side of the road, and someone snapped a picture and spread false misinformation like this. Now, this whole video is based around Tyler just asking questions, or the Haitians eating the cats, with no evidence to back it up. Now, this is a common tactic used by conspiracy theorists. So, Tyler, let me ask you a question. I heard your mom was sucking some dong for $50 at the bar, and I had a good friend of mine tell me that they saw her in the car sucking some dong. Is that true, Tyler? Does your mom suck dong for $50? I can tell you an insane conspiracy theory based on no evidence, present it as a question, and it almost gives it some validity.
Aliens built the pyramids? Do you think it's possible George Bush did 9/11?
Wait for me right now. Oh, who are you afraid of tonight?
Men.
Which men? Men in general, or specific types of men who come from different places?
Like that man.
If he was black, would you guys date?
Bonjour. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is.
You speak English, French?
How disrespectful is that?
You had a kid who was 5 years old and they said, Daddy, I'm a guy, but I think I'm a girl. What would you say? How does it feel to facilitate more deaths via secondhand obesity?
You are trespassing. Leave my building now. Leave the building now.
Okay.
I mean, if you want to give me the answer, you tell me what answer I'm going to give you.
No, I'm just asking a question.
And Tyler knows that. But if you were to push me back on that, like, bro, my mom doesn't suck dong for $50. Oh, well, I'm just asking a question, man. Don't get mad at me. That's what Tyler's doing here. Because this whole thing of Tyler asking people if the Haitians eat the cats, let's think about another equivalent. This is like going up to Asian people point blank and saying, I heard on Twitter that Asian people are eating dogs. Is that true? Tyler doesn't have any social brain to maybe think, maybe that might not be an appropriate question to ask. Why did no one else make this video on YouTube? Maybe because it's a little bit racist. Now, Andrew Callahan, Channel 5, he runs another channel that Tyler essentially ripped off from and made into his own thing. Does the same thing. He goes boots on the ground, does journalism. And Andrew even made it a point to say that he would not be coming to Springfield to ask people about the Haitians eating the cats.
By the time I wrapped up my report in Colorado, the front lines of the migrant hysteria crisis had already shifted fronts, from Aurora over to Springfield, Ohio, where Trump and J.D. Vance claimed that Haitians were eating cats.
They're eating the dogs. The people that came in, they're eating the cats.
A claim that was debunked by the mayor, the state.
Bro. People walked away thinking that Trump won this debate. They really, truly did feel this.
What they have done to our country by allowing these millions and millions of people to come into our country, and look at what's happening to the towns all over the United States. And a lot of towns don't want to talk. It's not going to be Aurora or Springfield. A lot of towns don't want to talk about it because they're so embarrassed by it. In Springfield, they're eating the dogs, the people that came in. They're eating the cats. They're eating the pets of the people that live there. And this is what's happening in our country, and it's a shame.
And basically everybody else. After the presidential debates, my inbox was flooded by emails saying that Channel 5 should go there. But guess what? I'm not going. I'm not going to follow every shitty thing that Trump says about migrants across the country and feed the algorithm they've created by lying.
But Tyler doesn't care because he knew he was going to get mad views on this. And he clearly did, 47.6 million views. Now, this video is a whole can of worms in terms of the whole just asking questions things. And what's really like annoying about all this is that it could only take Tyler a minute to spread misinformation, but it takes an hour to debunk it. Now, I'm not going to go through this entire video and all the little details about it, but essentially this whole just asking questions things, this is in nearly all of Tyler's videos. And the Springfield video is the creme de la creme of it. And like, it's one thing to let people speak about what they think when you ask them a question to make themselves look dumb, but when Tyler doesn't push back on anything they say, it's almost like he's kind of, not co-signing, but almost like, okay, there is some evidence to this, but there's absolutely none.
There was Haitians in a white van driving around the neighborhoods collecting cats.
For what?
Skinning them and eating them.
So a van was collecting cats and eating them.
I watched it happen, yeah. Watched them get pulled over with the cats and admit to the police that they was eating them.
You're not joshing with me.
No, I'm almost 50 years old, buddy. I don't know.
See, a real journalist would push back on what these people say. And people talk about, oh my God, I saw the police, the cats in the van and everything. Tyler could have gone down to the police station and gotten the police report if this guy was for real. But Tyler didn't, because he just wants to take this guy's rumor and just spread it on as it's actually fact. And Tyler knows that if he ever gets pushed on this, he could always go back to the whole, I'm just asking questions, bro. But Tyler doesn't care about fixing the problems that he so often shows the world, because the dollar at the end of the day is Tyler's goal. And his incentive is to highlight and throw gasoline and incentivize as many of these problems as possible because it gets Tyler as many clicks as possible. This video took about 4 months to make, and I only went through a few of his videos. Now, there are so many videos that are based in the same format online that I think a lot more debunking needs to be done. A lot more of this just misinformation, hoaxes, and just made up shit needs to be taken down, because it is so harmful to our platform. We're really trying to have actual truth-seeking journalism, really try to show that, because everything I've showed you today is anything but that. And I would just ask you one last time, is all of this stuff in this video something a real journalist would do? Thank you for watching. Now this here is Tyler.
Not cool. Jesus, bro.
And subscribe. You're watching the Mark Lamont Hill official YouTube channel.
Peace, family. It's your brother, Mark Lamont Hill. Welcome to Night School. Every night here on the Mark Lamont Hill official YouTube channel, we hold Night School, where we break down the most controversial subjects, the most interesting topics, the most contested debates going on in the world today. And tonight is no different. We have what I hope is a really spirited conversation. I see it, Mark, as a debate. It's not really a debate as much as it is a spirited conversation, I hope, with Cenk Uygur. Y'all know him. He's been on the show before. He's a friend of the show. He's also all over the internets for a very long time. He's a YouTube legend. He's the founder and CEO of TYT.com. And he's been getting a lot of backlash for his appearance at Turning Point USA's America Fest, where he joined Charlie Kirk on stage. I talked about this 2 nights ago. I didn't understand it. I didn't like it. I was confused by it. I was frustrated by it. And I said, let me reach out to my guy and see what he thinks about it, see if he can come on and have a conversation about it. And he did, and he's here. Before I bring him on really fast, I just want to show you all once again, and we showed this the other night, I want to show you all the clip. They got a lot of people just a bit confused. Here it is.
What I mean by that is not a revolution against the Democratic Party or the left or the country, but a revolution against the establishment. So I knew you guys were for real in fighting against the establishment when I started going on right-wing shows and I would say something negative about Mitch McConnell. And when I did that in the past, what I would get back is, oh, no, Mitch McConnell's great. Pelosi's terrible, but Mitch McConnell's great. Let's get here. What do you guys think of Mitch McConnell? All right. Yes, I love that. So look, for my left-wing friends that are watching out there, they just booed Mitch McConnell. That's a great thing, okay? And let's do one more. What do you guys think about Dick Cheney?
At what point is MAGA the establishment? MAGA became the establishment in 2016. The idea that they're anti-establishment even doesn't even really make sense. They're just one part of the establishment that opposes the other part of the establishment. Like, the cabinet is all billionaires who are fully entrenched in like U.S. business, U.S. lobbying. The whole political party supports Donald Trump, obviously. Donald Trump was the president once. He's the president again. These are the most highly coveted, most influential positions in U.S. politics. Won a second election. Like, MAGA is the establishment, of course.
My left-wing friends out there, we have been waiting for the right-wing populists to boo Mitch McConnell and Dick Cheney our whole lives. Take the win. Take the win. Now, what we need to do in the Democratic Party is we need to do likewise. We need to have a revolt against the Joe Bidens, the Kamala Harrises, and the Nancy Pelosi's.
I wanted to keep that piece in because I know a lot of people have been quoting Cenk out of context and making it seem as if he was just leaning toward the right. And it's very important to note that he also said, for you leftists out there, that he said we need to also have that same energy toward Joe Biden, toward Kamala Harris, so we can have a true progressive movement, a true left-wing movement. I want to bring him in now so we can talk about what this all means. My friend Jack, good to see you.
Good to see you, Mark. Appreciate that you had me on so we can talk it through rather than just yelling at each other or talking at each other, et cetera. So appreciate that.
Yeah, no problem, man. It's my pleasure. After you appeared there, and I'm going to get to the why of that, you said something else. Actually, before we go there, talk to me. What made you go to this thing? Why would you appear there?
Yeah. So I've got to rewind all the way back to about a year ago to explain that. Because if you had asked me a year ago, would you go to AmFest and talk to Charlie Kirk, I'd say, I mean, is he ready for what I'm about to do, right? And so what happened? I started being deeply concerned about 15, 16 months ago about Joe Biden. And I was like, this guy's falling apart at the seams. And we got to beat Trump, and there's no way in the world this guy's going to beat Trump. And so both because of his mental decline, but also because of the numbers. The numbers were overwhelming. Anyone who knew politics understood he had no chance of winning. That's why I had, I had strange bedfellows before the right wing with David Axelrod and James Carville and other people who could read numbers and realize that Biden was going to lose. So as you might remember, I ran against Biden in the primary just because I got so desperate. I was trying to bring progressives into the race, and I tried to bring governors into the race. I'm like, somebody's got to beat Trump. And so then when I ran in that act of breaking glass in case of emergency, just to try to push out Biden in any way, shape, or form, I started going on a lot of shows, and some of them wound up being right-wing shows. And in the beginning, I was just as skeptical as a lot of folks on the left are now. But slowly, I started seeing something. And so, guys, I don't want to get it twisted. It's not like I started saying, "Oh my God, the right wing is they're all angels." And
I can't hear somebody say "Don't get it twisted" without thinking of train wrecks.
None of them have any bad intent. So no, of course not. That's any description of 77 million people that boils it down to any extreme is comical, right? But what I did start seeing is things that surprised me. Like they really do hate not just Mitch McConnell and Dick Cheney, but they hate the concept of war because they think it wastes our money. They think they hate the concept of corruption, and I think that they actually do hate corruption, but they're blinded to Trump's corruption, right? And so the more I saw and the more I started, right? No, of course not. That's any description of 77 million people that boils it down to any extreme is comical, right? But what I did start seeing is things that surprised me. Like they really do hate not just Mitch McConnell and Dick Cheney, but they hate the concept of war because they think it wastes our money. They think they hate the concept of corruption, and I think that they actually do hate corruption, but they're blinded to Trump's corruption.
Remember, I think there are qualifiers for all of this stuff, and it's nowhere near as simple as, or maybe even it's more simple than what they're saying, right? Emoting. When somebody says they hate corruption, what they mean is they hate corruption that doesn't further their ends, or they hate unjust corruption, or unjust is something that isn't comporting with their view of the world, right? Which is why it's okay when Donald Trump abuses the DOJ because that's getting back or getting even or it's payback or whatever. But it's not okay when supposedly Democrats do it, right? Or war is really bad, but threatening Canada and threatening Mexico and threatening Panama and threatening Denmark, who the fuck owns Greenland? These are like epic. These are epic and hilarious and awesome and based, right? But these same people were pearl clutching, and I know they were because my mom did it, over that one Biden thing where they were like, Biden said he's waiting for World War III. That was like a pearl clutch, like the end of the world. Like, holy shit, I can't believe he fucking said that. Like, oh my God, it's going to be World War III. But Trump doing all of this is just like based and hilarious and yeah.
Right? And so the more I saw and the more I started to feel like, wait a minute, there's actual populace in those hills in a way that was really encouraging. And Mark, the reason why it's encouraging is at the end of the day, in order to do something that is grand, something that actually regains our democracy, something incredibly difficult like getting money out of politics, at some point I've always known, and I've said this for over a decade, that the right and the left, you have to unite against the establishment. So for the first time in my life, there's a shred of hope that actually could happen. So that's what opened me up to having further conversations, including going to AmFest.
Okay, I mean, the other night here on the show on Night School, I sort of laid out what I thought was the best possible explanation. Because there are people who are saying you were a grifter, that you bought in, you sold out, you got money to appear there, and you're drifting to the right. And I said that I respect you enough and care enough about your importance to this movement to give you the benefit of the doubt. And the benefit of the doubt means I can just say he's wrong, right? He's made a bad choice without assuming bad character, without assuming bad faith. I just think you might be making a bad choice, and I do. And so that's part of what I wanted to sort of get at, because that argument you laid out to me is the best case scenario, right? Is that you believe that there's a shred of possibility that the right
is your current focus on emotivism a result of talking to Alex O'Connor? No, it was just a re-engagement with the topic that I used to say years ago. I wish this would happen. I wish we could live in an alternate reality where we could run this, a different way, and then have Republicans go, oh shit, you're right. We would be okay with that. We would be really hypocritical, and that'd be like an eye-opening moment. And then realizing that all of those things have come true, and they do have their George Soros, and they do have their Donald Trump abusing the Department of Justice, and they do have their crazy baseless conspiracies, and they do have their billionaire controllers and everything. But now that I see that they don't care about it, so I'm trying to figure out, like, well, what's going on in this person's mind, right? It can't be that it can't be as malicious as, okay, I'm going to say this one thing and then I'm going to do it differently. I'm going to lie about this position and then I'm going to 180 when we get power. So I'm just trying to figure out, like, what's actually going on. What are people actually saying when they say this is what I'm trying to understand, I guess.
Or at least people assembled in that event are so fed up with the establishment that they're willing to align with those of us on the left who are fed up with the establishment, and that we can tear this thing down and produce something new. I'm baffled as to why you think that's the case. But let's start with the booing, because I think that's a good example of what I'm talking about. You sort of pointed to the Mitch McConnell boos, which I'm always a fan of, and the Dick Cheney boos as evidence that, look, they're done. But that crowd there, I would argue,
like, you have maybe he's going to bring this up, right? Like, this is so reductionist. Imagine, you ask somebody, okay, let's be honest. What do you think about P. Diddy? And somebody's like, fucking disgusting. I hate P. Diddy. Like, get this guy the fuck out of here. And you're like, okay, we can break bread over that topic, right? That's good. And, like, what about Cosby? Yeah, fuck Bill Cosby. I hate that motherfucker too. Worst person, like maybe even worse than P. Diddy. I don't know. It's like, okay, cool. Okay, we're getting this too. Historically, when we think of, like, big things like civil rights, like, Malcolm X and MLK, and like, no, fuck those guys. Like, wait a second. What do you mean fuck those guys? Yeah, fuck those guys. Wait, why? Because they're black. Wait, why'd you hate Diddy and Cosby? What do you think about like Weinstein? Oh no, that guy was fine. Those women knew what they were getting into. I don't like Cosby and Diddy because they're black rapists and they're just black people. And it's like, wait, okay, wait, hold on. So we're not really agreeing at all, right? Do you understand? Like, the thought process is important. So to say, well, these people are booing Mitch McConnell, so that's good for us. No, they're booing Mitch McConnell because Mitch McConnell was one of the people on January 6th who said, hey, Trump, you got to call these people off because they're, like, revolting and they're about to come in and kill us. That's why people don't like Mitch McConnell. It's because he's not a Trump lapdog. So that's not anything you should celebrate when they're cheering on. Like, this is literally KPD Nazi party shit where it's like, bro, look at the liberals. Let's fucking get them. We're on the same team, right? We're anti-liberal. Let's get them. Like, no, that's not how this works.
And the Dick Cheney boos as evidence that, look, they're done. But that crowd there, I would argue, and that crowd wasn't booing Dick Cheney and Mitch McConnell because they represented any particular,
yes, thank you. He's going to say it.
Political vision or because they were part of the establishment. They booed them because they're Trump cult members, and Trump has issues with them. Yes. If those people, if Dick Cheney stands up and says, "I'm endorsing Donald Trump," that whole crowd
will 180 immediately, and they have in the past. They'll 180 immediately.
Erupts in his favor.
Yep.
So to me, that's not even about a political move against the establishment. It's just good old fashioned cult behavior.
Yep.
Yeah. No, I disagree. So let me break it down. First of
all, you disagree? How could you possibly disagree? Is he about to rant on or yap on some completely irrelevant shit, or?
Well, I appreciate you not assuming Bradington. Apparently that's a rarity online.
Very rare.
Yeah, and so number two is, just to be clear with everybody, I did not get paid for that. So I know that there's all these conspiracy theories out there, but no, I don't get paid for any of this. And if it's, and then you, by the way, there's two conspiracy theories, or theories, let's put it that way. One is that I'm doing it for the money, and the other is that, oh, that's it, the Young Turks is going down. Well, you can't have both, right? Either we're going down and we're going to make less money, or we're grifting for the money. So pick one. But no, it has nothing to do with money. So now to the substance of that question, Mark. So look, I think you guys are wrong. So on the one hand, I get it, Mark. So the fact that Trump is against McConnell and Cheney, is that relevant? Of course it's relevant, right? It didn't come out of nowhere. But are they? So look, there's 3 layers within the right-wing movement, and this is true on the left side too.
Oh, he's really likes this new model that he's got. I don't even know if I necessarily disagree, I guess, but okay. Remember, guys, the back's left.
It's really a hierarchy, right? There's the voters at the bottom, right? And then there's the media figures and politicians in the middle, and then there's the very top leadership, right? So, and that hierarchy also has a hierarchy of trust, in my opinion, which is that you trust the voters the most and the leaders the least, right? And for a lot of people, mainstream media would say the opposite: trust the voters the least and the leaders the most. I totally disagree. I'm a populist. I think that's nonsense. I think the leadership on both sides
that has nothing to do with populism. That whole statement: trust the voters for what, and trust the leaders for what? What are you trusting who for? That okay, whatever.
Deeply corrupt and have personal incentive for that corruption, whereas the voters are just real people, right? So, and MAGA voters are honest to a fault. I mean, they're not hiding their opinion at all, right? And they will say things to you that voters have personal incentive for that corruption, whereas the voters are just real people, right? So, and MAGA voters are honest to a fault. I mean, they're not hiding their opinion at all, right? And they will say things to you that'll rock your world, right?
As opposed to progressives, do they hide their opinion, or who are you even talking about right now?
Right. And so, but if you say Trump is dishonest, well, of course, right? I mean, he has an enormous track record, right? If you say the politicians are dishonest.
Do you think they would agree with you, though, if you say, is Trump dishonest? Is Trump a liar? Didn't I ask that question on Piers to the 2 conservatives? Like, what's one thing that either you feel like Trump has lied about, or one thing that you disagree with Trump on, and they couldn't say a single thing?
Of course, overall, of course, right? And right-wing media is where it gets actually a little bit interesting. So, but when I go to go on these right-wing shows, one, there's right-wing media, which we'll come back to in a second. But 2, just on their voters first, right? How can I tell? Well, number 1, you get the comments in social media, you see it on those posts, etc. Number 2, having gone to AmFest and other places, I've now seen and interacted with hundreds of MAGA guys, and they don't all speak for each other, and they don't all speak for the movement, etc. But on top of that, sometimes, like the first time I was on Patrick Bet-David's show, or the second time, they did a poll. I pushed for paid family leave, and I try to so can we start something on the show, left wing, right wing, get agreement, etc. And I explained to them what paid family leave is and how moms get 12 weeks off after they have a baby, and they kind of love it, right? Because you can see how that could match conservative ideology.
Bro, actually, I'm not even sure what his involvement is in these alternative media spheres. Yes, they do want paid family leave, but this is stemming from the idea that white people are being outbred by disgusting brown people like yourself, and we've got to do everything that we can to incentivize, like they did in fucking Italy, more pure white Aryan babies. We need as many white babies as possible. So of course they'll support. This is literally third positionism, right? Is the idea of, yeah, I'm culturally conservative, but I'm socially basically, or I'm socially conservative, but economically I'll be like a socialist, sure, as long as all the socialists are going to the white people, right? Why would you ever think that you're aligning cleanly there, right? They're going to say things like, yeah, we definitely need paid family leave and everything right after immigration is turned down to 0 so that dirty Hispanics aren't taking advantage of any of it. That's the... And also, if you were to ask that question with one more qualifier, you can test this in any environment, by the way, because I can't, because these fuckers will never have me on now, okay? But you can test this with one more question. You can say, oh, okay, let's say that we do paid family leave. Let's say that we run that experiment with paid family leave for 1 year, and we find out that, let's say that the population is 30% Hispanic and 70% white. What if we found out that 50% Hispanic population was taking advantage of that program? Would you still want to keep it going, or would you want to end it? They would say they would want to end it. If white people aren't taking advantage of it more, then there's a problem there, and they would want to end that program. So,
So the only one that was a little bit hesitant was the main host, Patrick, right? But all the other hosts were like, yeah, that sounds pretty good. And then they polled their audience, and 75% of them said, yes, we want paid family leave. Okay, so they're not lying. They genuinely mean it. And Mark, you have to remember, those guys have been lied to their whole life, first with mainstream media and then to a large degree with right-wing media. So they've never heard a positive take on paid family leave. And when paid family leave is explained, they're like, wait a minute, why is that not a conservative idea? We love that idea. And the polling bears that out. 84% of the country wants paid family leave. 74% of Republicans want paid family leave. Okay, so then I started to realize, oh, no. Some of these guys are just misdirected populists. They got pushed out by the Democratic Party that's so authoritarian, so pro-establishment, et cetera. And then they went in the wrong direction, but some of them have good intent. Now, we can argue over the percentages. And
who do you think would ever push for paid family leave? In the era of Obama's presidency, who's pushing for paid family leave? Do you think it's the neocons and the Tea Partiers and the libertarians? Or do you think it's the Democrats?
That was going to be my question. What percentage of MAGA people do you think has good intent?
Yeah.
I don't even know if Mark knows how deep this third positionism, the weird, the white identitarian obsessive outbreeding shit goes.
It's impossible for me to know. I'll make it up. In terms of some of them have good intent. Now we can argue over the percentages. And
that was going to be my question. What percentage of MAGA people do you think has good intent?
Yeah, you know, it's impossible for me to know. I'll make it up. In terms of like the lost tribe of populace, it might be.
Like, you should identify what does good intent mean. That should be the first question. Because, I mean, everybody has good intent by definition. Most people view themselves as doing good things. It's almost tautologically true. Why would you view yourself as having the intention of doing a bad thing? Like, if you have the intention of doing it, you probably don't think it's that bad, right?
I mean, you're going to be surprised at the number, but I think that might be as high as 15% in the right wing. Okay, like, okay,
I can accept that.
As high as 15% want to do the right thing. So 85% are bad coded in your mind?
That doesn't shock me. I mean, I don't agree. I think it's lower, but let's say it's 15%. Let's say that 80. That still means that 85%.
No, hold on, Mark. Sorry. Let me be clear. When you say, so I was going to clarify further. There's, 50, whatever the number is, 50% or so, are the old school MAGA that you know, right? And you're familiar with. Like, so Trump says it, yes.
White nationalists, racist, evangelical, Trump cult supporters.
Yeah, I wouldn't use all those adjectives for the whole 50% at all, right? But I understand some of those folks exist on that end of the spectrum, of course. Not some.
Wait, you just said 50% and now you're saying some qualify. Also, by the way, Cenk's statement right there is more extreme than what Biden's statement was. When people accused Biden of being too extreme in that speech with the red background, because Biden explicitly said he thinks it's a minority of the Republican Party that are MAGA Republicans. Donald Trump and the MAGA Republicans represent an extremism that threatens the very foundation of our republic. People quote this one line to show that he hates half the country. And then he says, now I want to be very clear up front, not every Republican, not even the majority of Republicans are MAGA Republicans. Not every Republican embraces their extreme ideology. I know this because I've been able to work with mainstream Republicans. So Cenk is making a more extreme statement there, derogatorily about MAGA than even Biden did, but okay.
I mean, some is not some. That is the organizing logics around MAGA were white nationalism, were anti-blackness, were xenophobia. I mean, Make America Great Again, even as a title, even as a label, even as a framework, is about a certain kind of appeal to a certain kind of American narrative. Whether you think it's Make America Great Again like 1800s, or whether you mean it as Trump says he means it in the Reagan.
God, I love it. I love it. I love a black person asking this question. I guess Cenk isn't a white person, so it doesn't hit quite the same. But it's always fun for a black person to ask a white American who's like, yeah, we need to go back to when this country's great. It's like, go back to what year? It's like, fuck, not this guy. God damn it. Okay, well, it has to be after slavery, obviously. Probably has to be after civil rights. Fuck. After school, oh shit, like, it's like, that's a hard question.
Either way, you're talking about shrinking government. You're talking about, at least the government we care about, expanding, except for, military and police and stuff like that. You're talking about just taking away the social safety net. You're talking about stripping away some of the most important institutions like the Department of Education, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, this is the core organizing logic around it. And for Trump, it begins really with birtherism and then it emerges into build a wall. I mean, this is the organizing logic. People who put on those hats believe this stuff. I mean, these are just Tea Party members who are just lean conservative.
Yeah, Mark, I think it's more complicated than that. So just to finish the earlier thought, and I'll get to that point. So there's a good 35% or maybe 35, 40%. These are such made up numbers, but that to me are like, they think they mean well, for sure. I mean, look, of course, everybody thinks they mean well, but I mean, like,
yeah, everybody thinks they mean well. I don't know what the point of making that kind of statement is. Yeah.
Right. They don't have any kind of white supremacist agenda. They're not necessarily misogynist or something. They might have old stereotypes in their head.
Why do you think that's true? I get it. We're both conjecturing here, but why?
Remember, when you say, now I know that as Americans, we have like Hispanic people and black people and Asians, and like Arabs aren't real people to us. But remember, Donald Trump did run on banning every single Muslim from immigrating into this country. Like, that is something that he literally ran on in 2016. That was part of the platform when he won that election. I don't know if people forget that or people think that's like, that was part of what he ran on. Okay. This is a long time after 9/11. I don't even know why the fuck Americans were even obsessed with Arabs at the time. Or I guess like ISIS and shit. But like, that's just, don't forget about that.
Why do you believe that's true?
Yeah, because I've interacted with them. And I think that what we've done is that we've gone into our bubbles and we both think that each side is so evil that you can't talk to them. And they feel the same way about us, right? But to the point that you were making about, the origin of MAGA. So the reason why I say it's a little bit more complicated than that and nuanced is because what's the origin of the Republican Party? The modern Republican Party, not the old one, not the party of Lincoln, et cetera. I actually wrote about this in my book, Justice is Coming. I have a chapter called Why Republicans Suck. So I was not unclear about it, right? And so I explained that when I was a kid, I grew up a Republican because my dad was a small businessman, et cetera, and we believed the story that mainstream media told us about a shining city on a hill.
What do you think about Musk removing the blue checkmark for MAGA people, talking shit about his H-1B1 visa idea? Things are already getting spicy in House between Trump supporters. People need to talk honestly about what's going on, and they haven't been giving the full story on what's going on. When Twitter was made private and they started to make blue checkmarks available to people, the thing is that they use, I don't remember what the database is called, but there are only so many entries into this database that can handle blue checkmarked subscribed people. And what they started doing, because Vivek and Elon are both like heads of like this Doge bullshit or whatever, whatever. Vivek petitioned Elon. He said, I know a whole bunch of Indians that really want blue check marks on X. And so Elon has started to take away blue check marks from hardworking Americans, and he's just shipping them over basically to Indian people that are applying for verification on X. And I think it's really gross.
Hill and Reagan's speeches about that, right? And then when I realized that the Republican Party was, the modern Republican Party was built on the Southern strategy, I felt lied to in a big way, a giant way. Like, if I thought the Republican Party was based on racism and hatred and I'm Muslim, why would I support them? That doesn't make any sense, right? And the Southern strategy was so explicit, so clear. We are going to get the racist voters in the South that the Democratic Party left behind when they passed the Civil Rights Act and the Voting Rights Act under Johnson, right? So that's the basis for the modern Republican Party, along with greed. And so I'm super clear on that. So MAGA is not, you know, the origin you're talking about, 2016, is not that different than what that party was anyway, right? So yeah, so I get that. But these days, like that still remains. And but if you talk to those people, they don't think that they're racist or sexist at all, right? And so I know that most racist.
What is the? This is cinema. You are right. Yes, that was a cinematic statement. Yes, correct, Mark. That is right. Racist people oftentimes don't think they're racist. That is true. Yes, correct. What a bizarro and also, I don't even like talking about racism because it's not about racism. We're like we're beyond simple racism in America. Like, it manifests in more multivariate ways now, I would say. So I don't even like this claim of like it's more, it comes from more like this nationalist, this ultra nationalist perspective, which will bleed into racism a lot, but it's not the same driver that it used to be, where like 20, 30 years ago when they were talking about thugs and rappers on Fox News, it was just racism. But now it's like, it's taken on a more sophisticated form. And it's not enough to just call somebody racist, or even deal, I think, with, yeah.
Still remains. But if you talk to those people, they don't think that they're racist or sexist at all, right? And so I know that
most racists don't, though.
Yeah. So look, I've seen guys who say, no, I'm not racist. I had a black person in the house the other day and I even let him use the bathroom.
Exactly.
That's so like that way of thinking is so racist and you don't know it, brother, right? So like, I got it, right? But now there's a whole heap of people that were just pushed out.
Wait, so what, you just like contradict your own?
Democratic Party. They hate the establishment. Democrat became more established. But they hate us on the culture wars. And on the culture wars, it gets super messy because part of the reaction to what happened with MAGA and making America great again, to your point, Mark, is that there was this feeling of, oh no, we're going to lose power. Now, that doesn't consciously come out as that guy saying, I'm afraid black people are going and brown people are going to take over. That's why I'm supporting white supremacy and et cetera. They don't say that, right?
But that's where a lot of this stems from.
We're going to lose power. Now, that doesn't consciously come out as that guy saying, I'm afraid black people are going and brown people are going to take over. That's why I'm supporting white supremacy and et cetera. They don't say that, right? But there's cultural movements. So the cultural movement of white America was like, uh-oh, we're getting over the edge here. We're about to lose the majority. And then we're in a world of hurt, right? And you have this instinctual cultural reaction. And that's kind of what you sense with the beginning of MAGA, right? And then, by the way, but let's be fair, our side, I think, and we can debate this too, I think we went too far. And so we went so maximalist that we lost the majority of Americans. And so Republicans, when they started saying identity politics, that was a trick in the beginning because what's the Southern strategy? Identity politics, right?
Just for our audience understands, when you say we went too far, what would be an example of going too far?
Yeah. Let's say.
Oh, I don't like this guy. I don't trust him because of his Israel-Palestine takes. But it's such a good ask for examples. Always ask. Please, more people in media, whoever's listening to me right now, please, Pac-Man or Brian or anybody that's secret listening, please always ask for examples. Always ask for examples and policies. Ask for examples always. It's so important. Please. It's so good to do this, to ground out the conversation so we're not just yapping random fucking theory.
You said we went too far. What would be an example of going too far?
Yeah. Let's take a couple of things, right? So I'm 100% in favor of trans rights. Every show I go on, and at that event, I knew it was a little risky, but I asked them to say, look, trans people are American citizens, and they should get 100% the same constitutional rights as we do. And most of the time they agree, so that's great, right?
What a stupid fucking... What do you mean, get the same constitutional rights as we do? Like, arguably, black people pre-civil rights had the same constitutional right. Like, I mean, the Constitution technically applies to everybody. Like, that's such an empty, hollow, pointless... God, what is, like...
That crowd was a little bit more mixed. It was about 2/3, 1/3, 2/3 agreeing, 1/3, right? And so, but on our end, when we say trans people must play in professional sports, right? The league shouldn't have a choice. But wait a minute, that's not where the American people are. And I don't even agree with that. And so,
yeah, wait. That's not where the American people are. You don't agree with that. So who the fuck is the one making this such a huge issue? This was obsessed about by conservatives. It was conservatives. How many conservatives made more commercials about trans people than fucking Kamala's campaign did? I don't know if they made any commercials about trans people. What the fuck?
So, and then people look at that and go, okay, wait, now you're.
Do you feel like that's a dominant issue of our side of the left?
Thank you.
No, there's two things that happen there, Mark. So the right attacks first. Let's be clear about that, right? They like trans people are minding their business. Now they maybe culturally they're becoming more and more dominant. Our side is becoming more and more dominant, and it's starting to grate on the right wing, etc. But then the right wing passes laws, right, saying, hey, this against trans people, that against trans people.
Right, that's my point.
Yeah,
that's my point. It's like that's a right wing issue. That's a solution in search of a problem. The right started making up all these laws and rules. It's like, oh my God, as if the left were as if that were a priority issue for the left. And then the left speaks a little bit about it, but I don't. And then it becomes, the left has gone too far. They're out of control. It's like, well, no, the right is doing that. It seems like you're almost echoing that right wing talking point.
So look, here's the example I use. So as I said at the AmFest event, I'm what they would consider extreme left on gun control, right? So I don't think guns should even be allowed in the house.
Guns are not a hot topic issue right now. Nobody, like, I'm sorry, but nobody gives a fuck about guns right now in the United States. I don't even know if immigration is, like, the border is a hot topic issue right now. Like, it's still kind of, like, pulsing in the background. But, like the American public just moves on from issues very fast. And guns are just not at the forefront of the American mind at the moment. It's just not a big thing. Like, no one cares. Like, bring up something more controversial right now. Stuff related to, I would say, like, Ukraine-Russia stuff still seems to be, like, pulsing in the American mind, throbbing in the American mind. I would say the stuff related to cabinet picks is amorphous or nebulous. That can kind of be like Elon Musk and Doge. I think this stuff is kind of like more ever present. But guns, how long is like stuff related to like the wall, stuff related to building the wall, I think is more like pressing in American minds. Immigration was the #1 issue for Americans during the election. Dog, that was 2 months ago. I'm sorry, but that's like lifetimes in terms of news cycles.
If you have a gun in the house, you are much more likely to die from the gun, okay? But I know that my position cannot pass, right? I'm going to have to convince people a lot more before I could begin to defend that position in a way that's logical. Like, I can defend it all day long, but I defend it in terms of running on that or engaging in that fight, right? Yeah. So on the trans issues, the right wing is the one that baited us, right? They tried to, banning trans people in the military. That wasn't that popular. They tried the bathrooms. That wasn't that popular. Going after their core constitutional rights wasn't popular at all. And then, so they went all the way to the outer edge, trying to find a place where we'll fall into their trap. So that's where we ran into professional sports, some of the terminology we were using, birthing people, etc. And then gender reassignment surgery, pre-18 years old. These are very unpopular positions.
How did Anna wear down Cenk? I feel like Anna started to convert earlier, and I feel like Cenk was a really good check on her. And now it feels like Cenk is adopted. Like that was watching Anna fight with people who called her birthing person. That's where that came from, that talking point. I don't understand how she was able to convert him.
And then gender reassignment surgery, pre-18 years old. These are very unpopular positions. I don't happen to agree with any of those positions, as it turns out.
Yeah, and like nobody on the left does. These are like very slim minority positions.
But even if I did,
but also not dominant. I just want to be clear, they're also not our dominant positions. Most people aren't. So even as we say it right now, it sounds as if the left has gone too far and the right is just being more reasonable when the left isn't saying this stuff.
Yeah,
in general.
You even identified it.
Art, that's the key. So when the right wing came in and attacked on those issues, and they went further and further out, there's a line where I would have drawn the line, even if I held those positions and said, look, guys, we're not going to win on those. I would say to the right wing or to anyone to make it super clear, we're not going to win on those issues. We got more work to do in convincing the American people to be on our side. But there's no point in debating it because we're not arguing it, right? But we didn't do that. And then when you get to the left, again, the left is not a monolith. The left is gigantic and has
22. What did he say initially on this?
I'm going to have to convince people a lot more before I could begin to defend that position in a way that's logical. Like, I can defend it all day long, but I defend it in terms of running on that or engaging in that fight, right? Yeah. So on the trans issues, the right wing is the one that baited us, right? They tried to, banning trans people in the military. That wasn't that popular. They tried the bathrooms. That wasn't that popular. Going on that or engaging in that position in a way that's logical. Like, I can defend it all day long, but I defend it in terms of running on that or engaging in that fight, right? Yeah. So on the trans issues,
like nobody ran on whatever. Okay.
Again, the left is not a monolith. The left is gigantic and has a lot of different parts of it. But in this case, a lot of left-wing activists online were like, no, this is we fight and we die on this hill. Because if you give 1 inch, that means you're surrendering. And no, we always go maximalist. And so you could tell in the reaction, Mark, because when Anna and I said, yeah, we don't agree with those, for example, those 3 things, right?
I think, again, though, you have to keep in mind, like I maybe would have, I think I've even given the kind of this take from Cenk before. The thing you have to keep in mind is that even if you win that fight, I said this before, I think the example is you're going into the Coliseum with a shield and the other person has a sword, and you winning that fight is successfully deflecting the attack. But that's it. You haven't gained anything. It's not like conservatives like, oh, well, or independents like, well, Democrats aren't actually defending that position. Maybe I'm going to go side with them. It's just every swing of a sword is an opportunity to lose a chunk of skin or to lose some voter. You're not actually gaining or winning there. You have to be on the attack more as Democrats. Again, it shouldn't be like, why or how do we stop ourselves from playing into their hands? You should force the Republicans to think like, fuck, how do we stop ourselves from playing into their hands? But we're not on the offense about anything because everybody on the left hates everything, even the things that the left has done. I said before, it was sad that like Americans can't take credit for what I would consider to be a wonderful achievement of globalism and capitalism and American ingenuity, which I would say were the mRNA vaccines. Fuck you, Germans. Like we can't take credit for that because everybody hates either capitalism on the left or vaccines on the right. And I was like, oh, well, fuck us. And on the left, like the ACA did some wonderful things for the United States, but you can't take credit for that on the left. What are you going to, like, the most you can do is this tepid, like, well, you know, we had the ACA and it didn't go far enough. Like, you can't take credit for fucking anything. Donald Trump will sit here and say that he solved world politics and then in the next breath talk about how horrible his own trade agreement is without mentioning that it's his trade agreement with Mexico and Canada. And like, you can't win. You can't win on the defense like this. The most you can do is survive. And that's not good enough.
People said, no, you're a right-winger, you're a traitor, some said Nazi, etc. And, well, that's not productive or helpful at all. And so then it became, oh, my God, the left is digging in even more on this position. And I'm like, get out of the room. That this is not helpful, not only to forget the Democratic Party, it's not helpful to trans people because you're now walking backwards and you're endangering them more. And here we are, we're back to now debating bathrooms because we lost so badly on that issue when we didn't need to be in that fight at all. Stop falling.
Yeah, but who's challenged you to that fight?
Into their traps. And I give you the gun example because I want to show you guys, me too, right? Like, it's not like I wouldn't do it with my own positions. Yeah, I'll give you another example about my own identity, like Muslims, right? And this one's absurd because it didn't really, nobody asked for this law or anything, but I use it as an extreme example of like what if I had done this, right? So I would protect Muslims, Americans, and our rights 100%. There's no negotiation over it. This whole deporting, denaturalizing nonsense. We'll fight it 200%. Fight the Muslim man 200%. There's a brother up in Minnesota a while back, and he sued the grocery store that he was working at because he said I shouldn't have to handle bacon and pork at the checkout. And I was like, no, brother, that's your job. Okay. If you got those concerns, go take another job. Right. And if we had, let's say, dug in on that position, again, I grant we didn't, that was not a big political issue. But if we had dug in and said, no, maximalist, that's it. Muslims should be allowed to work in the grocery store and not do this, we would have lost. And I would have said, no, don't do that.
Like, think about this. God, I hope that Mark has this example. Think about what he just said. Should a Muslim grocer be allowed to reject his workplace because they were dealing with pork? Now, I don't remember the outcome. So let me check the outcome. But I remember this was 10 years ago, was it? Remember the huge fight with Hobby Lobby? Christians, I think, were trying to argue that it should be okay for the health insurance to not cover any form of contraception, I think. Or maybe even birth. Yeah. In the devastating Burwell v. Hobby Lobby ruling on June 30th, 2014, the U.S. Supreme Court allowed certain bosses to block their employees' access to birth control. The decision of the Supreme Court birth control case applied to more than half of all U.S. workers. People wanted to block basically the healthcare coverage from being able to cover birth control. How is it that we have to run? We have to run like crazy from a Muslim, and also I don't even know if I think fuck the Muslim dude. He should have to handle pork. But why is it that on our side we've got to run like crazy from that? But Republicans are like, healthcare covering healthcare? Excuse me, we're going to die on this fucking hill all the way up to the Supreme Court. Again, look at the uneven playing field. Look at the uneven playing field. Like, this is insane.
Rights backwards, and I don't want you to walk my rights backwards. Do you see
I got you, but you're taking things that didn't happen and using them as examples to justify something that did happen. You're taking hypothetical counterfactuals, and saying, well, yeah, if we had done this, this would be exactly why. This would exactly prove the right's point. But things didn't happen. But let me just take a step back because
I'm just saying that even if it affects me, I still have the right. Like I still have the same strategy. Is my point. That's all.
For sure. So I guess part of what there are two things you said that I think are really interesting. One is both sides are against the establishment, right? These two. I think that the challenge is. That argument presumes that the establishment is something other than right-wing. We have two right-wing parties that are fighting each other. Now, I'm not pretending the Democrats and Republicans are exactly the same. I'm not pretending that the Green Party and the Libertarians are exactly the same. But these are two right-wing parties. And so when you say, well, they both want to fight against the establishment, I think you might be right. They both in their minds want to do that. That's true. Similarly, they both hate mainstream media, right? But and they clapped when you said that. But the difference is, when they say mainstream media, they're thinking CNN and MSNBC. They don't see OANN as establishment media or mainstream media. They don't see News Nation as establishment media or mainstream media. So you two aren't talking about the same thing. So even if you're using the same language, you two have very different ideas about what the establishment is. That crowd in that room, if you told them to get rid of establishment media, they'd be okay with Fox News living. While you and I both know that Fox News is establishment media. It's just the ultra right part of it. I'm saying that to say that just because those people in that room say we want to get rid of the establishment, we want to tear down the establishment, they don't want to tear down right wing anything. They want to tear down the parts of the establishment that allow you and I to exist, and allow the most vulnerable people in this country to be safe. So to me, it doesn't feel like a fair or good faith argument to say.
And you know what I just realized? I feel like Republicans have gotten more credit for the ACA than the Democrats have, because Trump talks about, like, I want to keep pre-existing conditions. We improved the ACA. We, like, what the fuck?
Well, it's okay for us to come together. It's okay for me to be on stage with them. It's okay for me to be in this space because we both want to get rid of the establishment. No, y'all don't. Not the same way.
Yeah, Mark, I understand what you're saying, and I agree in part, but I largely disagree. So let me break it down. So do they mean mainstream media and establishment politicians, including their own side? Yes, they definitely do. Do they mean Fox News? No, they don't. You're right about that.
Who are the establishment politicians left on the Republican side? Most of them are MAGA. Like,
right? So, but that doesn't, but what I say, first of all, we're not going to get everything we want right out of the gate, right? We're not going to come in and go, hey, we'd like to tear down Fox News, and they're going to go, yeah, of course.
Oh, we're not going to get everything we want right out of the gate. Okay, so when it comes time to dealing with Republicans, all of a sudden incrementalism is the rule. But when it came time to dealing with Democrats, excuse me, 100% pull out of Gaza right now. No more support for Israel, or else fuck you, you're a genocider. Okay, also, by the way, notice how we completely stopped giving a fucking shit at all about that issue. So if you're some fucking Arab in Dearborn, okay, rope, okay, because nobody gives a fuck about you. Nobody gives a fuck about your dying people in Palestine. Nobody ever gave a fuck about it. So if you thought you had some huge fucking W for having Kamala lose, that's just on you, Chief. Although it's not actually on you, because you're not from any of those regions, and you're probably like 52 generations removed from anybody that is. But just as a thing, notice how nobody in the left anymore is talking about any fucking Israel-Gaza shit, because who cares now?
Of course not, right? So, but what I do say is, hey, we hate mainstream media.
Sorry, optics. Let me, I'll temper that statement. Don't post that one.
Yes, agreement. And I said, look, and this happens. So Democrats and Republicans play good cop, bad cop, but they're actually the uniparty. Republicans go, yay, totally agree, right? So by the way, that's a giant agreement. I mean, we're just rushing past an enormous agreement. And then we get to mainstream media, and I go, MSNBC and Fox News play good cop, bad cop. Now, that's the first time they've ever heard that, right? Because they think they've been told their whole lives, Fox News, right-wing media in general, good guys, MSNBC, bad guys, right?
Absolutely.
But remember, our own voters, Democratic voters, think the same way, right? So you find a 74-year-old person watching MSNBC Morning Joe every morning. She thinks MSNBC is the good guys and Fox News is the bad guys. No, it's good cop, bad cop. They're both the bad guys, okay? And so that's something we have to introduce to our voters and to their voters. So by having those conversations, I am in a lot of ways introducing that thought to them for the first time. And that's part of why mainstream media banned me in the first place. I'm banned on CNN and MSNBC because I think and Fox News. I think they got the sense, oh, this guy's going to convince our audience that we're not here to help them. And that's true. They're not here to help them, right? But since the right wing already did a revolt against their establishment, they're actually more open to that idea. And sometimes they'll even criticize Fox News, probably for all the wrong reasons. So there's a lot of work to be done there, but it's not. No, they're totally disingenuous and they don't mean it at all. Look,
this is the fuck. We got to do just World War II history. Fuck. I will schedule this. I'll figure out how I want to stream this fucking educational shit. I feel like this is like 100. It has to be like perfectly mapping on to the pre-Nazi Germany shit with the commies and the Nazis like eyeing each other as like friendlies. Like, oh, no. We agree probably most of the way. Like, nah. Yeah, they're on some crazy, like, racial superiority, ultranationalist, like, authoritarian shit. But nah, that's like not. Like, we agree on, like, the important things, which is, like, taking down the liberals. Like, this has to be, like, a literal one-to-one fucking map of what the fuck. Like, Jesus. That's saying he's not a commie. Well, he's not a commie, but he's illiberal. That's the important thing. He's anti-liberal. They're opposed to, in the pre-Nazi Germany example, would have been the SPD, I think. Right? Was what they were called. And then today it's just like, I guess, like center left. Okay. All right. Listen, I love you. Be careful. Don't die. I will hopefully get through this tomorrow. And maybe this and this and that. Don't die. Be careful. I love you.